Prepare in detail for the interview. You're going to want to be as prepared for this interview as any interview you're ever going to do because you want to get this one right. Plan for the sit-down process taking no longer than 5 to 8 minutes. Now, 8 minutes in a firing interview is excruciatingly long. That's a long time. It should not take even that long. It's going to be short, okay? Write down your script. Include all of the bullet points that you intend to say. Or alternatively, write out all of your remarks and read them to the person. I remember when I was a young guy, I worked for a manufacturer and I had to close down a store. And it wasn't a surprise to the person. There had been a flurry of legal letters going back and forth, but still, I was the one who had to do the official final breakup. And I was scared sick to do it. And what I did is I wrote all of the bullet points down one after another, and I just made a pact with myself that my bum does not leave the chair until I've said all of these bullet points. And so I sat down and I went through them one after another. And some of them were legal, but they all had to be said. Thoroughness is more important than looking natural. It doesn't matter if it's natural. It matters that you say everything that needs to be said. Once you sit down, plan to get right to the point. Skip the small talk. You don't want to talk about how your weekend was, how the family is doing. You want to announce your news immediately. And it might sound something like, Mike, I've got some hard news today. I've made a decision to let you go. You want to get right to the point right away. That's why it's not going to take very long to do. Tell them that their employment has been terminated, not will be terminated. You want them to know that this is an irrevocable decision. It's not open to debate. You're not going to debate about it. The decision has already been made. You are now informing them of the decision. Imagine that a girl is breaking up with a boy and she knows it's over. They've talked about it endlessly. They've had all kinds of discussions about the issues. And in her mind, the issues are he's unreliable, he's rude, he has no ambition, he prioritizes his friends over her, he dresses like a slob. So it finally comes to the breakup. They've talked about it, they've talked about it, they've talked about it. And he says, but why? Why would you want to break up with me? What should she do? Should she discuss it all over again and rehash all of his failings? Or better yet, should she write him a letter detailing his faults? No, no, no. Absolutely do not write him a letter, because he can go over that letter forever, again and again in his mind, disputing all the claims and finding out why that was wrong and feeling terrible about himself. Or if it's in a job situation and you fire someone and you write them a letter detailing their faults, well, you're just giving them a lot of ammunition to go lawyer up and take you to court and sue you. But even more than that, they can look at that letter for the rest of their lives and say, that was unfair. Why would they have said that? And maybe you threw it off in an offhand way, and that's something that sticks in their minds for the rest of their lives. Don't put it in a letter. Don't rehash it. You're not trying to save that relationship anymore. The relationship is over. So it's all been discussed. You don't need to rehash it all again. You're not going to save it. All you're going to do now is you're going to end that relationship in as kind a way as you possibly can. It's over. Don't sugarcoat the news. Not being truthful will not help you if you need to defend yourself later. There's a saying that I really believe in, and that's that not telling the truth always backfires sooner or later. It might not backfire in that interview, but it might backfire the next day or the next week or the next month or in 3 months. So tell the truth as it is. You don't say things like, well, who knows what might happen in the future? Things change, maybe one day, maybe this, maybe that. No, just tell it the way it is, that person's employment has been terminated, and don't sugarcoat anything. Now, who should do the firing? Well, that depends on the size of your company. If you're in a large company, your human resources department will be involved and they'll help you. So check with HR for advice on your company's firing policies, because of course they're going to advise you on the legal aspect. They're going to do a lot of the paperwork for you, and they're just going to walk you through that process and help you. So make sure you involve HR if you have an HR department in your company. If you're in a smaller company that does not have an HR person, you'll be doing this by yourself. But in either case, the person who's their direct supervisor should do the firing. This is not something that you delegate. It's not something that you turn over to HR or someone else. While others will sit in to act as witness, it's the responsibility of the direct supervisor to break the news to the employee. So sometimes people want to skirt out of that responsibility and they think, well, I'll delegate that to someone else. No. If you're the team leader, it's your job to sit in on that firing and to do the actual work of the firing. You might have a person in to sit as a witness if you're in a smaller company. You might have an HR professional with you if you're in a larger company. But at the end of the day, it's that person's supervisor who needs to do the firing. Let's recap. In this module, you learned how to make a transition plan. You learned how to prepare for the interview. You learned how to choose the time and setting. And you learned who should do the firing.